Alright guys, I am going to give you a walkthrough of the all-new Virtue Spire. So you can see I've got the Stealth Black Spire here. There's a lot of new features with the Spire. We're going to go over all of them here, but just a little walkthrough of the exterior, I guess. It's a very compact hopper. It's about 4 inches tall when you put it on the gun. That's the total seated height, so it's actually really compact. It's got a very narrow profile in the front, so when you're shooting at somebody and you're poking your gun out the side of a bunker, it doesn't have a big dinosaur-like profile sticking out around the side of the bunker there. And the neat thing about all of that is it's got still a true 200 capacity. It carries more paint than all the other top hoppers in paintball at this time. So that's a really an amazing feat of engineering because the operation of it's actually really reliable, and it's got some unique features there. So first I'll just show you exactly how it comes apart. The Spire is toolless disassembly. It's actually a two-step disassembly. It's very quick. You've got the slide lock button right here. It's a single button, but it's kind of a two-stage. So here it's in the locked position, and you can't get this off anyway. To unlock it, you just slide it up, and then you push this button in, and that releases this tab that allows the lid to just be pulled off. And it's impossible to take that lid off unless you have this lid up and you're pushing the button in. So it's kind of a two-stage. Even if you had this up, you actually really couldn't pull it off. If it was unlocked, it still won't come off. It's just, we just did that for even extra security. When it's locked, you can see that tab doesn't move, and then when it's unlocked, that tab removes, or it moves. Okay, so there's the lid. As you can see, changing into a speed feed is just as simple as doing that. You just put the speed feed right on there. Oops, there you go. I didn't have this slid up in the unlocked position. So you just slide that on there, and then the speed feed is locked in place. The lid on this speed feed, the Crown 2, it's very strong. You can really hear it. It doesn't come up very easily. You have to actually, give it a little push, so that way it can't pop open on you. But when you want to get in there, you can, to dump out all the paint or to reload it at the start of the game. We've got these new and improved straight fingers on the Crown 2 that are launching with the Spire. You can see the short fingers are thicker, and they're longer and thicker. But what we did is we narrowed it at the base, and we just add a little more cosmetics, so they look a little cooler and they actually perform a lot better. Okay, so I'll pull that speed feed off, and then we'll go over the exciting stuff on the inside. So this is the Spire internals. There's quite a bit of room there. You can see with the lighting. It'll hold 200 plus rounds. You get like 203, 205, depending on how tight you pack it in there. If the paint's a little smaller, you'd get a little more. To take out all the internals, you've just got this tray release tab inside here, and you just slide that with your thumb, and the whole tray comes out. And that's all the internals right there. So it's really just a two-step disassembly, and I'll just do that for you just so we can see it all in one smooth motion. Lid's on, locked, unlock it, pull it off, internals come out. There you go. And that's everything right there. So this is just the empty shell. You can hose that down, do whatever you want to it. If you want to clean it out, get sand and dirt and grime out of there. This is the Spire tray. Everything's mounted on the Spire tray. You've got your batteries, 3 AA batteries there. This is the shot activation sensor. That's a G-force sensor that's in the front of the Spire. And the way this works is it detects the acceleration within the gun for every shot that you fire. And it's finely tuned and it's self-optimized to pick up every single shot, and it's shot activated. And so this is the Spire drive that's right here. And a lot of people look at that and wonder why, what's the deal with that? That's different than anything they're used to seeing inside of a hopper. I'll just go ahead and turn it on, and you've got a single button on-off right here. So you just tap that button, and the Spire's going to start spinning like that. And what it's doing is it's just checking to see if there's any paint in. Now when you start shooting, it's going to actually spin a lot faster. And then when it gets some resistance, it's going to stop. And I just kind of bumped into it, but I'll go ahead and turn it on and show you again there. So when there's paint in there, it'll stop. It senses that the paint's in there, and then it'll stop spinning. And then once you start shooting, it'll start spinning fast. So let me go ahead and pull this off, and I'll show you a little bit how it works. Pull this off. My hands are kind of sweaty. This is the Spire drive right here. The paddles on it are this flexible rubber, and it's similar in concept to what we did with the soft cycle on with our rotor part, but this is actually a much more sturdy and reliable plastic. Still, it's going to flex, and it's not going to have any chance of breaking the paint. So no matter how brittle the paint is, some of the paint that these guys are using, some of the tournament guys, it's so brittle when you get hit by it you barely feel it. I remember I was on the field in Chicago taking pictures, and I got shot by the Heat guys in the neck, and it just brushed my neck. I mean, it was a direct hit right in the neck, and I could barely feel it right in my neck. So some of this paint they're shooting out of their guns are so brittle, but the hoppers, they end up breaking a lot of paint in their guns and then their hoppers. But with the Spire, not anymore. So you've got these nice flexible fingers, and you've also got, it's spring-loaded. So you see I'm kind of pulling on it here, and what makes that special is, let me put this, just snap it right back on. It's got these little tabs here, it snaps it right in place. What's special about that is if you get a ball that's going to jam in here, what it does is, a lot of hoppers, they'll have this unjam logic, where the hopper spins forward, and then it jams, and then it spins backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, to get that ball to reseat in place. Well, in that whole process, it slows the hopper down a lot, because the hopper's got to stop, it's got to go backwards, and then it's got to go forwards, and maybe even again a couple times to get that ball to move out of the way or to roll over and reseat. Now the Spire, it's got a totally different logic to its operation. We don't build in reversing of the motor logic. We don't even want to do that, because that just slows it down. What the Spire does is it's spring-loaded, so you can see that this will go up and down. These paddles are going to go underneath, they're going to spring underneath, and it's going to keep spinning forward, and then it's going to bounce up. And both between the flexible paddle and the spring-loaded part, it's actually going to reseat that ball. So you're going to have a ball that's, maybe it's oblong, or maybe it's a big ball, or you're using reballs and they're two kind of wedged together or something, as may happen just every now and then with any hopper. But what's going to happen with the Spire is it's going to bend, flex, and then just reseat that ball and move it back in place. That way you never really even notice that that ball was potentially going to jam. It just handles it in line while it keeps spinning. So the Spire it handles jams, or basically prevents jams by handling them just like a normal ball. It just basically keeps feeding. And that's why it'll work really well with reballs, just as well as it does with paintballs. So that's the Spire drive operation. The reason why it's got this cone is inside of this gearbox. I gotta use this because my hands are kind of sweaty up here. It's hot, guys. Sorry. Inside this center drive here, we've got the whole gearbox that's vertically stacked and in line with the drive. A lot of them on the other hoppers, they'll be underneath here, so we've got a deeper hopper underneath, or located around here with different gears that are driving the wheel. And it takes up a lot of space. It makes the hopper bulkier to do that. This sits it all in line, so we get a more compact paddle, the Spire drive there, and we also can have a little bit of efficiency in the operation, because it's basically all connected there in a single stage. And that gives us a ton of room inside the hopper. Now when I put that in, you'll just notice it's just really easy to just put it all back in together. You can see there's a little alignment tray, and so every time you put this in, you just angle it down like that, drop it in, and then snap it in place. And every time you do that, it's going to be really easy just to go in place. So for the guys that end up buying a Spire and using it, just keep that in mind. You just want to just angle it down, put it in, and it snaps in place. Really easy, really simple. That's the Spire in a nutshell. There's a bit more that I could show you. I could show you a little programming settings and stuff like that. But even though we're Virtue and we make our stuff to be programmable, we're hoping that nobody ever has to mess with the settings. You can adjust the speaker, and there's actually a sensitivity setting and another Spire drive setting that you can adjust if there's a problem. But the thing is the Spire is self-optimizing. You really should never have to adjust anything. We just put that in there for a worst case, or for the guys that are just dying to tinker because they're big Virtue fans. I'll just turn it on, and then you've got a force feed button that's right here. If you just tap that button, it's going to force it to spin. So this is sort of like, I don't know, I guess an electronic rip drive, you might say, but we just call it a force feed button. When you tap that, it's going to force it to spin one time. 2-stage disassembly with the single button slide lock. That's the Virtue Spire. Holds 200 rounds. Low profile, about 4 inches, adds about 4 inches of height to your gun. Shorter than any other top hoppers. Holds more paint than any of the other top hoppers. 3 AA batteries. It's really efficient. Awesome performance. pretty lightweight actually. The total weight on the Spire is 16.5 ounces. So that's just about it, and it's got this nice interchangeable speed feed. Just pops on just like that, so when it's raining, you can easily switch it back if you wanted to, or you can just keep rolling with this however you want. And that's the Virtue Spire.